story in Frankfort today. Arguments in front of the Kentucky Supreme Court will decide the fate of abortion in the Bluegrass State. Today, during almost all of the hour-and-a-half hearing, you could hear the cries of protesters filling the Capitol. Kentucky Supreme Court waited until after the election last Tuesday to hear the arguments, wanting to see how the state would vote on Amendment number 2. Amendment number 2 was, of course, defeated by voters exactly 1 week ago today. It would have explicitly outlawed abortion protections within the Kentucky Constitution. WHAS 11's Isaiah Kim Martinez and photojournalist Jessica Farley are reporting tonight from Frankfort.
Well, the first order of business for Supreme Court justices is to decide whether to reinstate a temporary injunction to, for the time being, make abortions legal again in the state of Kentucky. But it was clear by arguments made on both sides the issue of Amendment 2 and the current 15-week ban will very much play a role in their decision. Dozens outside court chambers insisting voters have spoken.
It's all about education and access to information.
Inside, Deputy Chief Justice Elizabeth Hughes questioning if the midterm vote is being downplayed by the Attorney General's office.
The vote is the purest form of democracy. Why are you suggesting that it has no impact?
General Counsel for the AG's office, Matthew Kuhn, responding.
The closeness of the vote, if anything, if you can read anything into it, it's that it's a divisive issue, which we think reemphasizes the point that the court should leave this to our General Assembly.
Meanwhile, the ACLU of Kentucky stayed firm in arguing a constitutional right to privacy and self-determination inherently protects abortion. Staff Attorney Heather Gatnerick.
And at the very least requires, Your Honor, a reinstatement of the temporary injunction while this case returns to the circuit court, because there are very real harms happening right now.
Justices then challenging the ACLU, asking at what point self-determination would be outweighed by the interests of the child. While Gatnerick admitted that point exists, an exact timeline wasn't specified. With all this in mind, justices will decide whether to reinstate a temporary injunction to make abortions legal again within the state as the lawsuit plays out. The Attorney General's office also opened the door for changes in the laws, saying a bill with exceptions for rape and incest will be pre-filed by lawmakers in the future. Can you double down on that right now? I noticed you said that at the end.
Yeah, I think that the Supreme Court of Kentucky, if they're concerned about a lack of rape or incest exception in our law, that they certainly have it within their discretion. I think our General Assembly is going to consider this issue, and I hope the court gives them time to weigh in on this.
It's unclear at this time how long it could take for the Supreme Court justices to make their decision, but we want to stress this: that 15-week ban within the state will stay in place, at least in this case, regardless of how they rule. I'm here inside the Capitol building. Isaiah Kim Martinez, WHAS 11 on your side.